Colten Jaws, guys. Last night, Sunday, March 21st, I made a video. It's about the CRCC and the Colten Boushie investigation. First of all, I hope I say people's names properly. This is who I am. That's how I talk. Sometimes I can't say their last names. Sometimes I can't even say words properly. No disrespect. But I had to come on here because I reviewed it and I'm glad I didn't post it. I reviewed the video this morning. And I need to clarify something. It makes as though that I'm calling Colten Boushie's mother, Debbie, a bad guy. That's not what I meant. A lot of bad guys, if they don't like what happened with how police handled it, they will go to the CRCC. They will do an investigation. They support a lot of bad guys. Debbie is not a bad guy. She's not a bad girl. Okay? I had to clarify that because it makes it look like I'm calling her a bad guy, but she's not. She's anything but. I assume she's a good person. I have no reason to think she's a bad guy. She's a grieving mother, for sure. It's sad what happened. She's without a child, and that's sad. That's terrible. So I just wanted to clarify that. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think she's a bad guy. The CRCC helped her out. This is my video. I get a little bit heated and a little bit silly, and, well, take a look. Hey guys, it's Colten Jaws again. Colten Jaws here, former cop, used to be a cop, not a cop anymore. I just did a whole video and I forgot to hit record. And it was passionate. I lost my mind. I'm not going to be able to do it again. I'm not going to be able to lose my mind. I liked my passion. And now I got to do it over again. So now it's partly fake. I'm on TikTok, guys, okay? I was on TikTok the other day. Today. I was on TikTok. I can't believe I'm saying this over again. I'm not going to say it. It doesn't matter. Forget it. Forget that story. I'm upstairs. I don't know how I'm going to tell this story, okay? It's about Colten Boushie. And I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but it's about the Colten Boushie thing that's going on. It's horrific. It's sad. It's sad that the mom lost a son at an early age. Well, any parent that loses a son, a child, that's terrible. That's a terrible thing. It's also sad that Stanley, who didn't ask for any of this, got charged with manslaughter. Went to court and was found not guilty. Okay, there's protests all over the place in Canada. I don't know how to tell the story, and I really, even though I partly did, I'm upstairs, I'm writing stuff down like you wouldn't believe, like so many points, so many things, and I don't know how to take the beginning of the story all the way to the end and make it like a nice, tight package. I don't know how to do that. And I remember my watch commander, one of my watch commanders, a great watch commander that I had, Brad Sawchuk, once said to me, I said to him once, he asked me my story. And I said, oh my God, Brad, I don't know where to start. And the best advice that he ever gave me was, well, Clint, when you sit down with a victim, when you sit down with a witness, what do you tell them to do? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, you tell them to start from the beginning. And I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start from the beginning, but it's long-winded, it's boring. But that's the only thing I know how to do. I'm in Tofino, and one of my guys, my subscriber, sends me an article about the CRCC. They came out with a report. They came out with findings. They came out with recommendations about the Colten Boushie incident. But if I'm going to tell the story from the beginning, I got to start from the beginning. And I don't know a whole lot about it, but in 2016, Colten Boushie was 22 years old. Him and 3 other buddies went to the river. They drank some beers. They got a flat tire in their SUV. They drove that SUV to somebody else's property. They tried to break into a vehicle on that property. They weren't successful, I don't think. They kept on going in their travels. They come across another property. It's a big acreage, Saskatchewan farm. It's the Stanley property. One of their friends gets out of the SUV. They jump on Stanley's ATV. They try to start the ATV. This kid says in court, I wasn't going to steal it. I guess he just wanted to start it. Stanley comes out with a gun. He sees that his wife is no longer cutting the grass. He sees an SUV running. He thinks his wife's under the SUV. He runs to the SUV to shut it off. He accidentally shoots Colten. Shoots him. Kills him. Another person that exited the SUV goes over to Stanley's wife and punches her in the face. Stanley didn't ask for this. He was having a good day with his son. He didn't ask for these guys to come to his house. So the whole situation is gross. It's horrific. I feel bad for the mom. I feel bad for Stanley. But that's not the point of what I'm talking. That case, that's court. That's wrapped up in courts. That's not why I'm here today to talk. The CRCC did a review of the police tactics, the police procedures, and again, they didn't like them because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed not to like what police do. They're a twisted committee, and they have to be twisted to justify their existence, to justify their employment. If they're not twisted in what they write, then they're not doing their job. I need to tell you who the CRCC is. Civilian Review Board, okay? It's a bunch of civilians that have formed a board, and they criticize police, they criticize the RCMP. When bad guys complain about what police do, they go to the police. The police sometimes do an investigation, sometimes they don't. If they don't like that outcome, they get to go to this board. And that's what happened. The family went to the board. Because Saskatchewan RCMP said, no, we did everything right. There was no racism. We did everything right. So they go to the board. The board finds, no, this is totally racist. Everything you did was racist, really. There's a lot of things that you did were racist. So they write up their little report. And it is twisted as shit. It is twisted. It's one-sided. It's their side. And I've reviewed a lot of these boards' decisions. Why am I here doing this? You're probably asking, why? Because it gets me heated. It gets me passionate. Nobody else is talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about this. Maybe the RCMP union a bit. But nobody else. We just, whatever they write, it's a fact. We have to assume it's a fact. The media, CBC, Globe and Mail, they're all against police. They want to sell papers. That's how you sell papers. So who else in Canada is going to talk about it? Police can't. RCMP won't. Really. They won't really do it. The only person that will is the commissioner. And do you really trust her? Do you know what I mean? So nobody's talking about it. So that's why I talk about it. I don't want to talk about racism. That's not why I started the channel. This is not what I want to do. It's not fun. It's not doing me any good. My channel ain't going up because I'm talking about racism, but I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. And I know a little bit about it. I used to be a cop. So when I see things written about police officers that aren't true, I have to come on here and I have to talk about it. And wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear this. The CRCC didn't like how police attended a next of kin notification and told the mom that her son had died. They didn't like how they did it. And the way they did it was racist. Of course, right? Of course. We always got to bring racism to it. It's racist on how they did it. Because it was insensitive on how they told the mom that her boy had died. These are the people we're dealing with, guys. The CRCC, a committee that was created. When they do the reports, they don't tell you who the author of the report is. There's no author. But the main person, the main dude that's in charge, her last name is Laffey, okay? I might be wrong with that pronunciation. I'm going to say people's last names wrong, okay? That's who I am. That's how I talk. I can't help it. No disrespect. But Laffey, she's basically she's the main dude of the CRCC. This is Laffey. She's teaching you guys. She's going to teach you guys about de-escalation. This lady is going to teach you how about de-escalation and responding to mental health calls.
All right, is that better? I need to speak to you today on the subject.
Now you need to hold the microphone back from your...
OK. Et d'habitude, on envoie à 2500 à 3
I'm not getting translation. Sorry, I'm not getting translation, Chair.
Oh, sorry. Translation, because I'm not sure how to change to the French piece. So
This is who we're dealing with, okay? These are the people we're dealing with. They're going to tell you, police, on what you're doing wrong. They've never been to use of force training. They've never been to RCMP depot. They never have been to any police training. It's a group of civilians that know nothing about being a police officer, but they're going to tell you, they're going to give you recommendations. They're going to find things that you do wrong, even though they say it's a good thing. Civilians policing police. But how can you do it? Before I was a cop, I was a civilian, and I had no idea about being a cop until I became a cop. I had no idea why cops do what they do, why they have to do what they do. The only way I'm going to know on the correct procedures of policing and knowing how to be a cop is if I'm a cop and I go to training and I experience being a cop. But for some reason in Canada, we want civilians to tell us what to do. But they can't. It's not even their fault. They don't have a clue. They shouldn't have a clue. They can't have a clue. That's the board we're dealing with. That's the group we're dealing with. And I've read a lot of these reports, and every time I read a report, it's twisted. They leave out information purposely. They make a statement, they make a sentence in writing. The only people that read it is civilians, the media, but there's no context around the statement that they make. You know why there's no context? Because if there's no context, it makes their statement look stronger. If they put context in it, it makes it look weaker. So they leave it out. They leave the narrative out. They leave the important facts out of these reports that they do. There's hundreds of reports that they do on police. All negative. Negative. Involving shit rats all the time. They are for shit rats and they are against the police all the time, every time. Every report. There's never a report that says, oh, the police did everything perfectly. No. Quite the opposite. It's very one-sided. Twisted as shit. Let's get on with it. I mean, I don't know where to go from here, but let's start with the Globe and Mail. I'm in Tofino, and one of my subscribers sends me this article, so I start reading it. So this is where I'm going to start, okay? And I'm heated. I'm heated again. The RCMP acted in a racist, discriminatory manner when it notified a Cree mother of her... Why do they put that? Cree mother? Why can't they just say mum? The RCMP acted in a racist, discriminatory manner when it notified a Cree mother her son had been killed. A civilian complaint process has found. That's the article. So when CRCC came out and said that, the mom of Boushie felt vindicated in a way. She felt good to finally hear something back from something. It felt good. She said, I was going to keep going until they admitted it. She said she's shocked that the RCMP admitted wrongdoing after denying it and delaying the investigation for so long. First of all, the RCMP admitted wrongdoing. Well, no. That's just the commissioner, okay? That admitted. That's not the RCMP. And CRCC is not the RCMP. They never will be. We shouldn't have to fight this hard for justice, she said. If I was a white woman, would I have to wait this long? We have to bring race into it, don't we? Right? If she's saying that because she's not a white woman, she had to wait this long. No, sorry, Debbie, but you're wrong. Okay? I've had grievance with RCMP. They take years. Everything takes years with the RCMP. Everything. Has nothing to do with your color of your skin. I promise you it doesn't. And isn't it something? If I was a white woman, like it's a good thing to be a white woman. Is it a good thing to be a white person right now? If I was a white woman, would I have to wait this long? No, if you were a white woman, you'd have to wait longer to be vaccinated. Debbie got vaccinated. 79-year-olds aren't even getting vaccinated that are white. Okay, maybe I'm throwing some humor into this, but is that really even humorous? It's not even funny. It's not funny. But she's complaining about how long she's got to wait. Do you know how long I got to wait for the vaccination? Do you know how long my parents had to wait for the vaccination? And you got it right away? 45-year-old indigenous peoples are getting vaccinated before 79-year-old white people? And she's complaining about having to wait for something? I know that sounds racist. I don't got a racist bone in my body. Believe me, I got a indigenous person in my family, partly. Okay? I love everybody. I love all people. Everybody. Believe me. But when I hear you complaining about how long you had to wait for something, when my old parents, who got, well, they're old, okay? They got things going on, and they can't get the vaccination, but you get it right away? Because you're not white? I don't know if I should put that on there, because it just, I don't want to be a white person anymore, okay? I want to be indigenous. I don't know why you're complaining that it's almost like you're complaining that you're indigenous. It's a great thing. It's a good thing. You got good things going on. You get things before I get. You do. I just bought a Jeep. It was a lot of money. It was a ton of money. It was thousands of dollars. We had to pay tax on it. I don't want to be a white man. But you're making as though being an indigenous woman is a terrible thing. Is it? I'm not saying the history back then was terrible. Of course it was. I'm sure it was. But can't we talk about today? Right now? Is that racist to talk about right now? You waited long because everybody waits long, and it had nothing to do with the color of your skin. So what happens is at the scene of the shooting, one person gets away. They hitchhike back into town. The name is Cassidy Cross. Cassidy goes back to the reserve. The RCMP believed that Cassidy was at Boushie's residence. Not only do they have to look for Cassidy, but they have to tell the mom that her boy had died. They have reason to believe that there might be a firearm involved with Cassidy. they have reason to believe that the residents might have a firearm there. So tactically, the police attend the residence. They contain the area. They go in the front, they go in the back, they have their carbines out. They're being safe because they want to go home at night. That's what police do. If they think there's firearms, they're going to take precautions because you have to. What happens when you don't take precautions? You die. You die in Marathorpe. There's so many reasons why you have to take precautions. Do you not want people to take precautions? You have to take precautions. So that's what they do. I got to calm down. I don't want to act like an idiot, really. I don't want to I got to calm down. This is what the CRCC concluded, that surrounding the house wasn't in keeping with the reasonable risk assessment, nor was it culturally appropriate or compassionate in the circumstances. Police officers, you surrounded the residence, and that wasn't reasonable. This is what they're telling you. This is what... Where is it? See that? That's what happens when you don't surround something. Okay? Members get killed. They get murdered. But this commission is telling you that they don't want you to do that. You could do it for white people, but non-white, you can't do that. You can't surround the residents. If you fear that you might get shot at, you need to take it easy. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you might be unsafe. It doesn't matter that you die. This is the committee that's teaching you how to police. It wasn't culturally appropriate. What does that even mean? Do you want police to act a certain way on the color of their skin? Is that so? Police tactics are different from white people to indigenous people. You want us to change our procedures and policies according to people's color of their skin, their race. That's what you want us to do. Does that make any sense? You can do this for white people, but when it comes to indigenous people, you will not do that. This is what I'm hearing. If these comments are true, and believe me, I'm just going by CBC and Globe and Mail. There's more coming out tomorrow on Monday. But if these comments are true, if these statements are true, guys, you don't stand a chance with these nut bars. Culturally appropriate. The mom mentioned to the cops her son's dinner was waiting in the microwave and an officer opened it to check it, which the CRCC described as particularly hurtful because it suggested officers doubted her credibility. You will never doubt you will believe everybody who tells you something when you go into a high-risk situation. Whatever they say, hey, is a gun over here? No. Is it in the microwave? No, you don't. No. Well, I'm going to check it. If you check that microwave after they told you that it wasn't in there, that's racist. The CRCC wants you to police this way. They want you to assume there's no gun in the microwave. All I did was look in microwaves and fridges. I looked in fridges. You want to talk about fridges? Do you know a lot of people put weapons in fridges? I won't even get into it right now, but there's members that have committed suicide that have kept weapons in fridges. And yes, microwaves. So if you're a cop, that's the shit you check out when you go into a residence. CRCC has a problem with that. A few days after going to the mom's home, RCMP officers went to Mr. Boushie's wake to update her on the investigation. The commission said speaking to the grieving mother at a wake was unreasonable and had a negative impact on relations with the family. You think that's true? You know that's not true. They didn't go to the wake to harass the family. I guarantee you they went to the wake to support the family. But because one person complained, the CRCC then documents it. That's disgusting that the RCMP would attend the wake. Why wouldn't they? You know that didn't happen that way. You know for a fact that didn't. Well, no, you don't. Because when they print this, they document this, every civilian, every news outlet pretends to believe it. That's not what happened. We'll never know the true story why they went. I guaranteed you it was for a good reason. One of the witnesses, Belinda Jackson, the person that punched Stanley's wife in the face, okay? She's complaining now. She described being handcuffed, told she would be charged and placed in the back of a cruiser. Of course she's going to be placed in the back of a cruiser. What are you talking about? We don't drive around with you in the front. She was kept in a cell overnight. Oh, my God. And couldn't sleep. Oh, no. She couldn't sleep with Mr. Boushie's blood all over my body still. Confused about why she was treated like a criminal, she said, well, you committed an offense, Jackson. What are you talking about? Are you saying you're not a criminal? And what's this BS about she had to sleep with blood all over my body still? Blood all over your body? Boushie's blood all over your body? Really? Really? Was it in your toenails, in between your toenails? Under your armpits? In your hair? Back of your ears? No, it wasn't. Do you see how CRCC documents this stuff? They're given the side of the complainants, but they're not given the full truth. That's what they do. That's how they work it. Blood all over my body, my ass. Of course there wasn't blood all over your body. But they write it. They make note of it. It's a highlight. They actually believe. Well, they don't even care what the truth is. It sounds good. To bring context into it, like to bring what... I bet you police documented what blood was on her body, and I guarantee you it wasn't all over her body. But they don't want to bring what the police had to say into their narrative, because that would make their statement look weaker. It makes it look stronger. CBC, guys. RCMP racially discriminated against the mother. And I'm thinking, how, why? Okay, how... What are they going to say? They're going to give me some proof here. How'd they do it, right? The NOK was insensitive. That's what the CRCC came out and said. They criticized the police on how they conducted the NOK. Insensitive, they said. Maybe it was. But does that make it racism? Can't police be insensitive without being racist? What was the color of the skin of the cop that did the NOK? Wouldn't it be something if it wasn't a white man? Would it make a difference if the cop was indigenous and did the NOK? Would that make a difference? Probably not, right? It's still racist. The way they did it. The CRCC didn't like two things that the cops did when they showed up the house. They asked the mom, have you been drinking? They told the mom, get it together. Because she collapsed. She collapsed when she found out her son died. Naturally. And one of the cops, according to the CRCC, said, get it together. That's what we're talking about today. And I know it took me a long time to get there. But get it together. And have you been drinking? The CRCC found evidence of discrimination in officers' conduct towards the mom because they questioned her if she had been drinking. If you ask somebody that, cops, you're racist. You can ask a white person, but if you ask anybody else, have you been drinking? That's racism. This is why we're here. This is why we're talking. That's it. That's the home run that they hit. What? You asked an indigenous person if they had been drinking? There's a million reasons why a cop would ask anybody why they've been drinking. And did the cop really say, get it together? Yeah, okay, that's insensitive. If you just walk by and go, get it together. Behave. Obviously, the mom had a nervous breakdown. But do you really think the cop just walked by and went, get it together? We don't really know, do we? Will we ever know? Could it have been that the cop said, you need to get it together? Well, that's a little bit more to the story, isn't it? Do you see how they read it? Because I've said that. Hey, I can't leave until you get it together. But how it reads, get it together. I don't believe any cop is going to go to any one of those calls and go, get it together, lady. I don't believe it went down that way, but they write it that way. And when you write something on paper and you don't give a story before and after, it looks terrible. Get it together, my ass. Me and Sat Dhaliwal, we went to a call in Langley. It was one of the worst calls I've ever been to. We had to tell mom that her son was dead. I hated those calls. I didn't want anything to do with those calls. I tried to avoid those calls. But they gave it to us because dispatch hated us. So we go to the mom's house, who had 2 sons. Her other son hung himself. So now she only has 1 son. Her husband hung himself. So we go there and she doesn't question anything. She's like, oh yeah, come on in. Hey, we got our hats on, okay? We got our hats on like we're telling her son is dead. And you don't know how you're going to say it. You can't say it in a good way. There's no good way of saying that. You don't even want to say it. So we're sitting in her house, we're sitting in her living room, and we're talking about nothing. We're talking about nothing, and the mom's not even really asking why we're there. I believe it's because deep down she doesn't want to know. She kind of knows, but you better not tell me. So we keep this going on. And she doesn't ask. We have to say to her, we got something to tell you. And I don't know how we said it. It doesn't really matter how you say it. You can't say it properly. You can never say it right. Hey, your son's dead. Well, that's insensitive, isn't it? So what happened was your son, he's not going to, like, how do you say it? You just say it. No matter how you say it, it's going to come out insensitive. Your son's not coming home anymore. Like, well, how'd he do it? Then they want to know how'd they do it. And you have to say, well, he hung himself. Collapsed on the floor. It was terrible to see the mom like that. And now what do you worry about? You worry about the mom's health. What's the mom going to do? Mentally, how is she? I'm not leaving that house until somebody's taking care of her. Until somebody's doing something with... I don't want the mom to harm herself. So I'm going to make sure that she's safe before I leave. And there's no way that you can possibly say in a good way that your child is dead. So when Debbie hears it, that Colten has died, that's not going to make her happy. And we're going to criticize the police on the way they handled that? What'd they do wrong? They went to a house that had firearms. They protected themselves. They told Mom about it. I'm sorry you didn't like what you heard. We checked the microwave. But that doesn't make them racist. It's unbelievable to me that a cop has to go to somebody's house and tell them that their kid is dead, and then they get called racist on the way they handled it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And sad. It's sad. It brings back memories. That you would criticize the most difficult thing a cop has to do. Because you're not white. What have they done to you? They looked in the microwave. It upset you. I'm sorry. That's what we do. It's procedure. It's practice. It's being safe. Asked if you were drinking? Do you know why they asked you if you were drinking, Debbie? In CRCC? You actually followed up on this complaint. By the way, would it have been a bad thing if me and Sat said to that lady, hey, I can't leave until you get it together. I can't. I got to make sure you're... Would that have been a racist? You know, cops don't always say the perfect thing. They think what's in their mind. They don't mean it to be discourteous. And when they think, you got to get it together. And they say it, and then you write it on paper. Oh, looks like you're a shithead. That's why this committee is formed. To make police look like shitheads. Every time, all the time. Some cop in there apparently says, have you been drinking? Have you been drinking? No context around it, right? Don't give a reason why the cop asked that. There might be a reason why there's 1,000 reasons why you would ask somebody. Do you know how many times I said to somebody, have you been drinking? That's what we do. That's what we always ask. I don't know the situation here. I'm just assuming. Are we not allowed to do a mental check of somebody? The first thing you do with a mental... I'm not leaving that house. I'm not leaving Boushie's house until I know the mom is not going to harm herself. Can I not do a mental check? A mental evaluation? The first thing you ask when you do that is, have you been drinking? Are you on medication? Have you done any drugs? When we call an ambulance to check the mental health of somebody, to check their mental health, the first thing the ambulance asks, have you been drinking? But because the cops did this to an indigenous person, it's immediately racist. They're not allowed to ask, have you been drinking? Do you not think that she had a nervous breakdown? Probably. I seen it. Collapsed. And they're going to evaluate her. They want to make sure she's safe. So they ask those questions. But those questions are racist. Let's just say let's look at the other side. Let's say the cop did say, get it together, and said, have you been drinking? Let's just say that happened. What do we have there? And they said it for no reason. Well, you got discourteous conduct. You don't got racism. Don't call it racist because a cop didn't talk properly. They go out of their way to make police look bad and criminals or civilians look good by purposely leaving out facts in their narratives. How do I know this? How do I know they do that? I've read a bunch of articles and they've asked her. They asked her if she had been drinking. Multiple cops smelled her breath. But you know what they left out? Did they smell anything? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. They don't document that part. Why would a cop ask somebody if they've been drinking? Because they probably have been. And they want to make note of it. They want to make note of everything. But CRCC doesn't even document that. Or maybe they did, and CBC and Global didn't want to mention it. All these things about, have you been drinking? Multiple cops smelt her breath. But they don't report what the answer is. They don't put down what the answer is. If they put down the answer, it makes what they're writing weaker. Why didn't they publish the answer? Why didn't they publish the reason for asking the question? They don't. They leave it out purposely. One or more members smelled her breath. And? What did they smell? No, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you. Because that's going to make my statement look weaker. I'm going to prove to you guys right now that this committee is full of shit. Okay? They leave things out purposely. And the stuff that they do add is trivial. It's all about them wanting to attack the police, come up with reasons on how the police misbehaved, and if they come up with enough reasons and the commissioner accepts a couple of those reasons, then they're justified. They're a justified organization. They're important. They're going to get a paycheck continuously. They will never lose employment. Tomorrow, I guess more information's coming out. I guarantee you, what's the most trivial thing that the CRCC can complain about? What officers do. Do you know? Do you know the answer? I know the answer. Note-taking. They're going to criticize the officers' note-taking. This is why we're here, right? Like, they know about note-taking. But I guarantee you, they're going to say improper note-taking tomorrow. The members didn't take proper notes. They need guidance on proper note-taking. This is the trivial shit that they're focused on. Let's get enough complaints against a police investigation that makes us credible. Note-taking. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll say all members took good notes, but no, they never do that. They don't do that. They come up with the little trivial things to justify their cause. I guarantee you. And I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if there's nothing about note-taking tomorrow in the report. I'm just trying to prove what kind of organization this is. Like, they don't even understand note-taking. We keep a notepad in our tits. I don't even want to get into it. They review it. There's not enough notes there. You don't got enough notes in your tits there. Well, no. Why would I have notes in my tits? I go to my car and I write it out. That's my notes. But they don't even know that. That's how ignorant. That's how ignorant they are. And every single time they say members need guidance on note-taking, what does the commissioner, the RCMP commissioner, do? She agrees with it. As a cop, if you're going to assess somebody's mental health, would the checkbox not be the first thing, have you been drinking? I'm not leaving until you're safe and you're not going to harm yourself. That'd be a good start. What medication are you on? You take any drugs today? Oh, no, that's racist. What did the RCMP commissioner agree with the CRCC report? Mom was racially discriminated against. The next of kin notification was insensitive and lacked judgment. That's what the commissioner said. Let's just say it was, okay? Can't we just call it that? Insensitive? Poor judgment? Why do we have to say it was racist? Can't we just say sometimes there's an insensitive cop if we're going to agree that that's what it was? Or a cop that had poor judgment? No! It's got to be racist. This is your boss, guys. She's done. She is done as a boss. She has ruined the RCMP without a doubt. Completely destroyed the RCMP. She will never have your back ever, ever. It doesn't even matter that she believes it or doesn't believe it. She said those words. We know she doesn't believe it. But she said the words. The damage is done. Insensitivity and poor judgment is now deemed racist behavior. Lahey from CRCC says more will be needed to prevent future acts of discrimination. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean more will be needed? Does it even make sense to you? More will be needed? What do you mean more? More of what? The commissioner accepting their findings? And the she could have came out and just said, give me a break. Everything they did wasn't racist. Nothing they did was racist. Cops weren't going to the call, treating them a certain way because of the color of their skin. Believe me. And fuck, I wish I could say my real truth on how it really is. And maybe one day I can. We aren't punishing them. We don't care what color of the skin they have. We don't care. None of us do. We're quite the opposite. You gotta hear this. CRCC finds of discrimination were based on a troubled history of police and indigenous people's relations. They found this. Their report was based on the history of the RCMP and the indigenous peoples. That's why they found it to be racist in nature. Because of the old history. It doesn't matter what you do today. If you're a cop, you're a racist cop no matter what. Because of the history of the RCMP and indigenous peoples. You don't stand a chance. No matter what you do, even if it's right, you will always be deemed as racist because of the history. If the CRCC gets a complaint, no matter what, the police officer will be found as racist because of the history. Because we are basing our investigations on the history. Not on today, the history. You don't stand a chance with the CRCC, but you do if you have a commissioner that backs your back, but you don't. She has fucked you. She's fucked you again, guys. Plain and simple. You're in trouble. No doubt about it. She'll never have your back. She'll never tell the truth. And really, if you think about the big picture, who's getting abused? Who's getting abused? Cops. Cops are getting abused for doing a good job. Who's the abuser? Your boss, maybe?